Welcome to the What's Your Weird Story podcast.
Everyone has at least one good story.
And some of us have stories that are just to the left of normal.
We're interested in the ones that push the boundaries of what we can perceive.
Stories that defy explanations.
Stories with an air of mystery.
Stories we might not share
for fear of being thought of differently.
But don't worry, we're all friends here. So, what's your weird story?
Hello, Weirdsville. It's your host, Barry Johnston, coming to you with my best friend, my co-host, my partner, Mr. Adam Beebe. Hello, Adam.
Hello, Barry. I like our NPR voices for today. That's a nice, calming, soothing texture that we're bringing audioly. I don't think audioly is quite a word, but I'm going to use it in this place.
It sounds good.
Thanks.
Good. Yeah, bring it down. We got to bring it down a notch once in a while.
Yeah.
Inside voice.
Keep it nice and relaxed and chill and everything, And this is this particular week, we have a very casual, relaxed story with our guest. So
it is puts you to sleep. It's incredibly relaxing. It's sometimes I've been listening to it as we have wrapped the interview up, and I'll put it into my headphones on the way to bed. And
that's good. That's good.
It fucking gives me nightmares. I'll tell you that much.
That's right, dude. Because it is not. It is intense.
Yeah.
It is a very intense story we've got this week. So we kind of threw you for a loop there. Hopefully, also being weird in our own right. So
yeah, you're gonna find that when you listen to this episode, you're gonna get probably one of the most horrific real stories that has happened to somebody that I could ever want to be involved in.
Yeah. You get really wrapped up in this story, and it's just a lot of wow.
Yeah.
And it's just gosh, I don't want to give away too much, but I also want to say it's not on the spooky woo-woo side. I don't know where the term woo-woo comes to describe the scary stuff, but it's kind of okay. I like to use it sometimes.
Yeah.
But this is definitely not. It's not the spooky supernatural stuff. It's not UFOs or aliens. It's not cryptids. It's just people. Yeah. It's how weird and, dare I say, crazy people can be, and what can happen in just a relationship between two people, and so that's what our guest today, Andrew, has brought to the table.
And he's no joke. He got in touch with us, and why he got in touch with us, I don't know. I'm not going to question it because we're just lucky to have him. We're just lucky to have a guy that he has a successful podcast of his own called Crypta, and he'll talk about that a little bit later. But it is it involves some of our favorite podcast folks.
Yeah, and it's also in line with what we like to listen to and what our show's about, but not the same. And we'll get into that towards the end. So, I guess before we get started, Barry, how you doing, man?
Oh, good, doing good. It's hot here, man. It's it's July, and when it's July in Oklahoma, it's when it gets turned up. So it's heat index is 104 today, man. Just brutally humid.
But at least it's a dry heat.
Yeah. Compared to Florida, it's a fucking dry heat. You know what I mean? Yeah. Compared to Louisiana and Alabama, it's fucking dry. As soon as you acclimate, man, holy shit, dude! Like I was outside today and just trying to get some work done, and within a couple of minutes, my shirt is totally soaked through. I mean, it's just one of those kinds of days. So, but yeah, man, how's your day going?
Doing all right, man. I've been busy working on a couple of commission pieces for a friend of mine. And, last weekend was the opening of my, I've got a solo art show. It's a small show, and it's there in Oklahoma City at Paseo Place, or at the Paseo Plunge, rather.
The pictures you posted on Instagram are awesome, man. Awesome.
Thanks to that. There are it's a lot of fun stuff, a lot of small paintings, which I normally when I like to paint really, really big, you know.
Right.
But these I specifically made to because I knew it was going to be a small space, so I made small paintings, which also makes them kind of affordable if people are interested. So you can go there, you can check out the Paseo Plunge on the internets and stuff like that, and go by, and because our friends Jen and Dave, they're part of the people that they set it up. They set up the show, so it's really awesome.
Well, for the people that don't know, you are an incredible artist, man. And
thank you.
As a friend that has literally grown up with you, watching your first drawings, and I drew too a little bit when I was a kid, but I got to the point where I'm like, your shit was so good. I was like, okay, I need to find I got something else. I need to work on something else. You got that territory covered, dude. And I mean, the stuff that you make is just incredible, man. And people need to support you and buy your paintings, man. Go to Adam's Instagram. What's your Instagram, man?
It's my Instagram is BBArt. That's BEEBYART. It's just my last name and art. So. Yeah, and I mean, I appreciate that, man. I try to be humble about my talent and what I do, but it is what I do. It's what I am. I identify as an artist first and foremost, and then as a podcaster, and then as whatever else I may be.
You know what, man? And I'll say this because I can say this from experience. True artists are some of the most humble people you'll ever meet, and I've always said this, whether you're talking about a painter or you're talking about a rock star, the people that get caught up in all the other stuff are usually not the talented ones, and usually don't have the creative juices that flow through. Those are the ones that have some mental issues, or try to sort of encapsulate something that they don't really abide by the nature of true artists, man. And I would say that is definitely you, dude. It's definitely you.
Thanks. So I guess check out
10%. You can give me 10%. All right.
Okay. Everybody wants 10% of nothing, man. So you get
right.
But and also speaking of Instagrams, check out the website, check out the website, but check out the podcast Instagram. Because we do all our not advertising, but we let you know a lot through that of what's going on and stuff like that. Because I like it better than other formats because I am a visual artist. I'm a visual person. It's all visual. It's all images with some text. So, so check that out as well. And it's What's Your Weird Story, I think. Something like that. Yeah. You can find it. If you're not there already, you can dig around and find us on Instagram, or you can look in where you download this episode. If you scroll down underneath, they'll have information where you can follow us and where you can email us when you yourself, listener, pointing at you, have a story to share with us. And when you can also get our T-shirts and cool stuff like that. So anyway,
yep, exactly.
So anyway, let's get back to the reason that we're here, and not the self-promotion, but let's get back to the reason we're here, and that's the stories. Andrew, he actually found us through Instagram, so there's that. So that's how it was.
That's awesome.
And so we're going to go talk to Andrew. So Andrew, joining us today from sunny Los Angeles. What's your weird story?
Well, my weird story is probably going to be the story of my crazy ex-girlfriend.
Uh-oh.
All right. Already starting good.
Yeah. Now I know a lot of people, they'll say like, "Oh, my crazy girlfriend," and it's just kind of dismissive. It's not really that nuts, but This one definitely takes some crazy turns along the way. So we'll start from the beginning, because this is a whole saga. It's got a whole story arc to it.
Great.
Fantastic. I'm rubbing my hands together in glee. You can't see me on it, but that's what I'm doing over here. So,
all right. So back when I lived in Tampa, Florida, I used to live in the suburbs. I lived technically right outside of Tampa, right between where it's like city and it starts to be more rural. And I was living in the suburbs, and I was a big old stoner. Used to smoke a lot of weed.
Yeah.
And I had the friend who got the good weed, and none of my friends or neighbors had that person. So a lot of times when I go get my stuff, I bring some for them.
As you do, and, as you do, yeah.
Oh,
you're a good friend. Okay, so I guess we can see that up front. You're a good friend. So.
Yeah. So we used to go hang out on my buddy's front porch and smoke weed, and some of the other neighbors would come hang with us sometimes. And one of the neighbor ladies started hanging around, and she really liked the weed that I had, so she would buy it from me, and that's kind of how it started. And she obviously had an interest in me, and I remember one time she bought an ounce of weed from me, and then she gave it back to me. She's like, "Here, you can just have this. I don't like this one." And I was like, "Whoa, this is pretty cool. Free weed for me, And then she started bringing me presents and stuff, and I was like, "Oh, this is nice." She started kind of becoming a little bit of a sugar mama for me.
Okay.
All right. This is awesome. How old were you at this time?
I think it was 23, 24.
Okay.
So I was a young, unscrupulous lad.
Yeah.
Definitely unscrupulous, because she was married.
Okay.
She was my married neighbor.
Okay.
Which, in retrospect, I feel kind of bad about. But at the beginning, she did say that her husband was 18 years older than she was.
Right.
And she was 9 years older than I was. Mm-hmm. So she kind of gave me the impression that she had a little bit of a hall pass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So,
who are you to judge that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
go with it.
It was 2012-ish. We're being progressive here.
Yeah.
Trying to not make myself sound like an asshole here. But yeah, so that's kind of how things started. And I started seeing her, and she'd take me out to dinner, like fancy dinners, and she'd make me fancy food and take me shopping and stuff like that. And eventually, like a moron, I fell for her. And, and things started to get more serious. And then she started talking about her husband. Mm-hmm. She kept telling me, my husband's got a lot of money. And, and he's got a life insurance policy on him.
Oh, no.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. He's a lot older than you. So, he could drop sometime in the near future.
Right.
And she kept driving this point to me all the time. She's like, I'll get $1 million if he passes away, and I'm like,
oh, wow.
I was starting to feel like it's like, are you trying to tell me something without telling me,
Yeah.
And then one day she gives me a gun just out of nowhere.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Intense.
Okay, yeah, that's a whole that's a whole other level as far as gift giving goes.
So yeah, I mean, what is your reaction when you get a gun?
Now, were you a gun user before? Did you have are you a marksman or anything like that before, or was this a brand new toy?
This is a brand new toy. I'd never shot a gun in my life.
Wow.
Prior to this, I never expressed any real interest in them, but one day she's like, here, you can have this. I don't really want it anymore. And it was yeah. She's like, I don't want it in my house. And it was a little snub-nosed 38. And she gave me a box of ammunition. and they were like, the hollow point flesh shredder rounds.
Yes.
Jeez.
Yes.
Yeah, not target shooting rounds, like home defense. Yeah, like home defense shit.
Wow.
And I was just like, well, what the fuck do you want me to do with this?
Yeah.
It's like it sat in my closet for like a year. But I mean, the implication seemed pretty obvious to me in conjunction with all the insurance money talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, I am not trying to end up on A&E over here. Deadly Lovers,
Oh shit, man. Oh fuck.
Yeah, so
fuck. So now you're like, oh fuck, it's getting deep now. Oh no.
Yeah, it's getting real intense. Ugh. And like around the same time, she became convinced that I was cheating on her with my best friend's girlfriend of like 5 years, and she was like one of my closest friends.
Yeah.
And she used to like scream at me. It's like, I know you're cheating with her. I know you're cheating with her. I'm constantly saying like she and her. I'm not going to name her name because in the off chance that she would hear this,
of course,
I would get a strongly worded email and probably some legal and or death threats.
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, leave names out.
They're keeping it a little vague. Yeah. Some plausible deniability.
Yeah. If she's crazy enough to solicit you for this, then she's fucking crazy to do some other shit. So allegedly.
Yes. We'll go
just wait. We're only halfway through the crazy.
Great.
Yeah. So like between the subtle like hitman request and also just getting screamed at for an affair that I wasn't even having in real life, I decided it was like, this is enough for me. I'm done. It's like, I got to end this. Oh, and I'm not sure if I said, but she was also talking about leaving her husband. And I was like, whoa. It's like, I'm not trying to have like, I'm not trying to be your new husband. It's like, you should rethink this. This is getting way too serious.
Yeah.
And so,
sounds like there might've been a couple of red flags. So.
Oh yeah, plenty ignored. I was pretty dumb in my early 20s.
Well, we all were, man.
And at that age, man, as a guy, pre-Me Too, #Me Too movement. Look, we're all just looking to have some fun. At that age, man, that's prime time to enjoy yourself and do your thing. And you got somebody throwing money at you, and she wants to be with you. Hey, let's do it.
Yeah, it was definitely a useful situation for me. I was getting a lot of good things out of it.
Yeah. Hey, it sounds like it was mutually beneficial to a degree. So, Yeah,
absolutely. So I break up with her. And at this point, she had like she still lived pretty nearby me. She used to be almost my next door neighbor, but she had moved like 20, 30 miles away. Excuse me. I got the burps from the beers here.
All good.
Try not to do it directly into the mic. But yeah, she lived a decent drive away at this point. And when I broke up with her, she was catching up with a lot of the friends on the street a lot of the time. And I kept finding out she was asking about me. Oh. And then sometimes she'd be knocking on my door. Ooh. And like, I'm starting to fear for myself here because she actually had been acting really erratic towards the end of the relationship and the whole husband murder thing, and it started to have me fearing for my safety a little bit. Are we edging into what's that movie where she boils the rabbit? Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction.
Yeah.
I was thinking Basic Instinct, but it's not that. Fatal Attraction.
Yeah.
I always mix those two up. But I was starting to get those vibes from her, where it's every time I see her, she's talking a mile a minute, and she's got that eyeball thing where you can see the whites above and below the iris.
Yeah.
I forget what that's called, but it's there's a Japanese word for it, and it's it means crazy, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so that went on for a while. And I blocked her for a while, but she had my bank info, and then eventually she started dropping money into my bank account.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Dude. Like, are we talking significant amounts of money, or like?
Not like huge, but it was like a couple $100 at a time.
So it's enough to know what the fuck's going on here. Somebody's putting some fucking cash. Okay.
Yeah, especially with how strapped for cash I was at the time, because I was barely working part time, if I was working at that time,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that kept me in beer, weed, and cigarettes for sure. So,
Which at 23, that's basically all you need.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
The way to a man's heart.
Yeah. So I started like a moron. I started talking to her again, and then and we hooked up a few more times, and then the crazy just reared its ugly head again too much, and I was like, all right, that's it. I can't do this. And around that exact same time, her husband got a job in Arizona. And actually, this was a little bit before, like a few months prior. Her husband had gotten a job in Arizona, but she was staying in Florida until their house sold. And that was like the time when I came crawling back to her. And but then I ended it again because I was just like, I can't fucking handle this. I can't handle this at all.
Yeah.
And so after that, she moves to Arizona. And then she starts calling me and telling me that she's pregnant.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm like, well, shit. It's like I wasn't planning on this. I didn't know what to do. But like I figure if I'm gonna have a kid, I want to be like involved or whatever,
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she won't let me come and see her. She's like adamant. She's like, she won't see me, all this stuff. And I didn't hear from her for a few months. And then she tells me, she finally comes back and she's like, I had the baby. Oh God, this is when like the real emotional abuse shit started happening. She's like, dude. I didn't put your name on the birth certificate. He's never going to know who you were, blah, 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 blah. But it's going back and forth from like that, like abusive style shit to like, it's like, oh, I want you to come out and see him, all this stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so
you're trying to wrap your head around like, you don't want to not believe her. You don't want to be in sort of inconsiderate, but at the same time, it's like, trying to wrap your head around the fact that you got a kid, like that's freaking heavy, man.
And the whole time she's playing with you like a doll.
Yeah. I'm being thrown back and forth like a dog toy,
Mm-hmm.
And so, and she starts sending me pictures of this kid, and I'm like, oh shit, it looks like I did as a baby, because like babies. It's a fucking baby. If you think it looks like you, it looks like you,
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, yeah, that's one thing about babies. Everybody's like, oh, he looks like so-and-so, or the mother and the father and the uncle and the grandpa and everybody and the two cousins down and somebody that we met at church or whatever. Well, if it's that's probably not a good deal. But, everybody always sees their, relatives in a baby. And this is, a baby's just a fat little head, man. You can see whatever you want.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
They're just a fat little head that can't fucking do shit. They lay around, they shit all day, they eat. Yeah.
Yeah. But I wasn't thinking critically about it, of course,
Yeah.
So that's going on, and I'm like, oh shit, it's like I want to be a part of like this kid's life. She won't let me come fucking see him, and she only like keeps me on like by sending me pictures every once in a while, and then it's like, you don't deserve it. Like this, back and forth. And so, she tells me what his birthday is and all that. And like on the first birthday, still haven't seen him. I've seen pictures, haven't seen him in person. I send a bunch of like gifts, to show that I'm like, I want to be there, and, and she sends me pictures of him with the gifts that I'd sent. And then our next fight, sends me a picture of all that stuff burning in a fire.
Oh my God.
God damn, man. She's crazy. She's nuts.
Yeah.
Up
until the pictures with the gifts, I was thinking she's just found a, maybe it's a niece or nephew or somebody else's kid, or maybe it's not even all the same kid, but she's just duping you. She's getting you worked up with all this on top of everything else. But since there's some kid out there gifts now. Oh man.
Yeah, and after the pictures, I was fucking incensed.
Yeah,
I was irate because it's like you're just gonna take a toy from a child to to just be horrible.
Yes.
To the person you're telling is their father.
Mm.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah, so that's really fucked up. And then and I don't know what happened with her, but she started going crazier and crazier. And she's like, I'm gonna hit you up for child support. I'm gonna take you to court. And I was like, fucking do it. It's like, I'll be allowed to see him if you take this to court, because we're gonna do a DNA test, and if he's mine, then I'll get visitation if I'm paying child support. So let's fucking do this.
Yeah.
I was ready for that shit, because at this point she'd been dangling him in front of me for like 2 years,
Damn.
not letting me. Yeah. Yeah.
2 fucking years.
Yeah. And
you can't do anything at that point, because it's like, if you get aggressive with her, she could turn you in or something like that. I think you're doing the right thing by trying to be nice about it, and but to draw that out for 2 fucking years, man.
Yeah, man, it was intense. And so yeah, when she told me she was going to hit me up for child support, I'm like, fuck it. I'll get a lawyer. I'll pay child support. Then I'll get visitation. It's like, I'll get a lawyer. I'll get a DNA test done. And if he's mine, then you legally have to let me, especially in Arizona, because Arizona is one of the biggest father's rights states.
Right.
Okay.
And I did my fucking research on this, and because I was fed up,
Yeah.
And at this time, I'm still 100% on this is my fucking kid,
Of course.
Man.
Yeah. And so when I gave her that, I came at her with that shit. I don't think she was really expecting it.
Mm-hmm.
And she flipped. She threatened to have me killed. She's like, I've got a lot of money. I know people who'll come and get you in the night. And I'll give them the money for it, and I'm just like, this chick is baddie,
And what's even scarier is that she can do that because she's already hinted at that with you.
Yeah, she's already tried to have me be that guy. Yeah.
And let's not kid ourselves. In Tampa, Florida, there's some nefarious characters that I'm sure she knew and had some pull with, or had a way to get in. So it's not too far from the truth.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was just like, fucking do it. Because at that point, I've been emotionally thrown back and forth for 2 years,
Yeah.
And and I was just like, fucking do it then. It's like, I was done being being thrown around like that. And all of a sudden, she's like, oh, my cousin's adopting him.
What?
And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, my cousin is adopting him, and there's nothing you can do about it, and blah, 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 blah. And this is when I'm starting to question it, because I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is she going to keep this kid for 2 years? And now that when I'm starting to talk about bringing in lawyers and shit, she's like, oh, well, I'm not even his guardian anymore,
Wow.
And she's got, yeah. I mean, she's got all the money and everything to hire, Hitman and everything like that. Why would she need to get rid of this kid, to pass it on to somebody else who wasn't you?
Yeah. Why the hell would she? Right. And and that was what she told me. And then I don't know. I think I stopped talking to her for a little while, because a lot of this blurs together for me, because it was just such a crazy time.
Yeah. Understandably.
Yeah. And somehow she got back somewhat in my good graces. You know?
No. Andrew, you're so nice, man. You're so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to make it work, because I thought I had a kid, and I wanted him to like know his dad.
No,
Yeah.
no, absolutely. I'm a nice guy too. I'd have probably done the same goddamn thing.
Me too, dude. Me too.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad because I'd be right there in the same place with you, dude.
Yeah. So, well, I know she paid for me to fly to LA a few times to meet, like, go hang out with my friends that were already living there. And, like, a couple of times it was just by myself, and she basically bought her way back into my good graces like she had before because she knew that would work with me. And then there was another time where we all met in California. And I saw her and things were much better. And I'm like, okay, we're getting towards like a semblance of something normal. Maybe if I'm lucky, we can figure out something to where I get to finally fucking meet my son, And then a little bit after that, she flew me out to Arizona to meet him.
Okay.
And there's a fun anecdote along the way here because I think I was there for like 5 days. And the first like 3 or 4 days were going to be us kind of just spending time together, and doing the couple thing. And then like the last day I was going to get to meet him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
hey, by the way, is she still married at this time?
She's been going through a divorce most of this time.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I don't know exactly what happened between them, but I think her husband was tired of her stuff because when we first started, it was like a progression of craziness, and a lot of times because she was definitely very obviously bipolar.
Yeah.
But one thing I completely forgot to throw into the story, she was like a reverend of like metaphysics and stuff like that. She's a Reiki master.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she didn't believe in psychology or anything. So, when I would tell her, it's like, you should probably see a psychiatrist. I think you might have bipolar disorder. And I try to be very soft and gentle with it, because it's like, I could tell she was manic and depressive and she was paranoid and I just wanted to help her, and I'm like, maybe you should see a psychiatrist. And she would freak the fuck out. Because, she didn't believe in any of that. And plus, like, you tell a person that they're being crazy when they're being crazy and they don't handle it very well.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And when you give them specifics like, I think you're bipolar and all this other stuff, because, she's probably heard you're crazy before a lot. But when you feel like, no, you're specifically this kind of crazy.
Yeah. It's like, I'm crazy. You're crazy.
Yeah.
You're the one who's wrong. Yeah. And that's what it always was. But that's going to factor into a story I'm about to tell about her here.
I want to tell people too, because I've kind of been in one of these situations before. People that are listening right now that may not understand the mentality of somebody that keeps going back into a situation like this. When you're involved with somebody like this, everything that is up is down and everything is turned sideways and fucked up. You don't know what's the truth, what's not the truth. So you're not making decisions based on rationale, You're making decisions based upon what somebody is presenting to you, which is the furthest thing from rationality,
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that episode of Futurama. It's like, of course I'm irrational. I'm in love.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey Barry.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a goat sucker?
What?
Goat sucker, chupacabra.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen one of those?
I haven't seen one personally, but I've heard about them.
Yeah, me too. If anybody's got a goat sucking story, if you got a goat sucker story, we want to hear it. If you got a Bigfoot story, we want to hear it. If you got a Loch Ness Monster story, or a Lake Champlain story, or Ogo Pogo story, or an Oingo Boingo story. Wait, that was an 80s band. Anyway, you got a weird cryptid story, we want to hear it.
I didn't even know what a cryptid was, man.
Yeah, dude, cryptids. They're like the animals that haven't been necessarily proven by science. They're the ones on the edge. They're not necessarily known animals, but they're known animals. We don't have the bodies or anything like that. So they're kind of like half myth, half story, based in reality, but still in that weird mystery area that we don't know about yet. Cryptids are fun.
Yeah, so she flies me out to Arizona, and we're doing the couples thing. And one of the days we went out to the desert in a place called Superstition, Arizona, and there was a legend. You may have heard of this because it's pretty famous. It was like the legend of the Lost Dutchman, and it was this guy in the old Wild West days that had found a gold mine out there, and he went crazy, and the gold mine was lost and never found, and people have been trying to find it for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so we went out to the desert, which after we did that, I realized was really fucking stupid, because I remember doing research about it later and finding out that a bunch of people had died getting lost in the desert looking for this lost treasure.
Yeah.
Well, also a bunch of people just tend to die going out in the desert with somebody who is a little bit unhinged.
Yeah, that'll happen too.
I mean, just saying.
Definitely. I wasn't even thinking about that at the time, but yeah. Yeah, so we go out there, and because she's into all this woo shit, she's big on crystals and rocks and stuff, and we're looking for this lost gold mine, but we end up getting sidetracked because we found these crystals coming out of the ground. They're these little opaque whitish crystals, and we collected a bunch of them and brought them back with us. And we cleaned them and everything, used ammonia to take all the dirt off and stuff. I guess that's the thing you do when you're a rock hound. And it was a fun day for us. I brought some of the crystals home when I got back home, and I found out what they were. They were a mineral called cerussite, which is also known as white lead. Yeah, which was the main ingredient of lead paint back when they used to make lead paint, before they realized that it was driving people insane from exposure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So basically, I went
you had
to
poison
the desert.
in your hands.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just, wrist deep in the shit. And I went out to the desert to play with lead. The crazy person, and there's some sort of metaphor there about looks being deceiving or something. I haven't figured out how to put it perfectly yet.
Right.
But when I write my memoir, that's definitely going to be a big point. Because that was a strange realization to me, where it's just of course it's that poison that drives people crazy, because that's just the most poetic thing ever, It
really is.
Oh man.
It really is, man.
Yeah. So anyways, we come to the last day of the Arizona trip, and I'm so excited because I'm going to get to finally meet the kid, and something happened where it just took a dark turn, she the night before she started being real depressed and stuff. I think she was real manic at the beginning of the trip. And then she hit that depression wall, man, because things were it just got so dark. And then the next day, and I was so when are we going to go meet our kid, with your cousin who's adopted him, and she's like, you're never going to see him.
Oh my!
You're never going to see him. And it's and he's going to grow up and he's going to hate you. And I could have killed her. I had to lock myself out of the hotel room because and just go take a long fucking walk, because I was that was 2.5 years of just emotional abuse.
Yeah.
I came all the way out there, mainly to see the kid. I tried to make things work with this woman who at this point I was like starting to loathe, it was like hitting that point in the relationship where it's like, I hate you,
man.
it's like, I'm doing this because we have like a kid together.
Yeah. You're trying to play nice. You're trying to go along and you're really, playing, her playing into her and her game and all of that stuff just to, to get what you want, to get to see your kid. And
and so and it was bad. It was, oh God. Yeah. It was so bad. Like, I took a long walk to calm myself down. And like, I just like said to myself, cause at this point I was really starting to wonder if she ever actually was pregnant, or she was just babysitting like one of her friends' kids and taking photos and stuff. And, I just came to on my walk, I came to the conclusion. It's like, well, if he is our kid, he's going to be much better off with a loving family that is not me and her, because she's going to emotionally abuse him if he's actually mine, if she's actually his mother, and I was a fucking loser back then, like I didn't get my shit together till I was almost fucking 30.
I think a lot of us can. I personally can definitely say that as well. So
that's for sure.
Yeah. So I was just like, you know what? I had to come to terms with the fact that 90% sure I was being lied to the whole time. And in the 10% like off chance that it all was like real, that he was in a situation that we could never give him. So and then she, next day she drove me to the airport and I sobbed in the airport. I was just crying, like going back, like waiting to get on my plane. And like I cried on the plane, and that was like the end of it. That was the fucking end. But fun little story at the end of that, though. I found out when I landed that some dude who'd been involved in a shooting had driven into the airport right after my plane took off, and all the planes had been grounded after that. So I was like one of the last planes to get off the tarmac before the cops shut down the airport trying to catch this dude. Yeah. So I almost got stuck in Arizona for who even knows how much longer after that.
God, that would have been awful. Man, that is like a chilling story, man, because for her to do that in that way and draw it out like that, not only the 2 years, but like get you to the point where you think you're going to see him, and then that day comes and she just fucking lays the hammer down. It's like, you fucking piece of shit, like who does that to somebody?
Honestly,
a sick person, man. And you're better off that you just accept that fact. But dude, I mean, I'd say it's probably 99% positive that there is no kid. You know, it just
no. Well, I'm almost 100% sure now, because she tried to contact me a lot after that. She wouldn't leave me alone. I had to block her phone number. I had to block her new phone number. I had to block her on Instagram, Facebook, pretty much everything. And then she'd make new accounts to email me from, to message me from. And I've only recently, the last couple of years, stopped hearing from her on a regular basis. But one of the emails she sent me was that she'd finally won the divorce with her husband. Like, because that was a big, long, drawn-out thing.
Right.
Because I guess they both had a lot of money, and it was up in the air as to who was going to get alimony in that situation. But she won the alimony from her husband. And that was like the final nail in the coffin, because like I'm pretty sure that if you have a child with someone who's not your husband while you're still married to them before the divorce, that's probably not going to, it's probably going to stop you from getting the alimony.
100%.
Yeah.
And that would come out. I mean, I'm surprised that her carrying on with you, if that wasn't brought up, if that wasn't known, I would imagine that somebody other than just the two of you that she knew would not have known about it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's like she had me around her like stepkids, she had me around her mom. So I used to come over when her husband was there, and I don't know if he knew or if he was just oblivious, or like if he knew and he was cool with it, I mean, we weren't all lovey-dovey on each other for that, but like there was no way he didn't know it was me.
That's so crazy. And imagine you're the side piece, right? So imagine him. Imagine all the dirt she had on him and like all the bullshit she's probably putting that guy through. I feel sorry for that guy.
Oh yeah. Well, he actually, I found out that he had put like a restraining order on her, which she'd broken multiple times, and it caught multiple felonies for breaking like a protective order against him. Wow. I went to jail a few times after that. Like things got even crazier with her after I finally cut the cord, because she was spiraling downwards like into just sheer madness. God knows what she's doing now.
That's so crazy, man.
Yeah.
And how long total is that? 6 years you were involved with her or had her around, or like how many years was that?
It was probably about 5 years.
God damn, dude. God damn, that's a long time to be tormented by somebody.
Yeah. No, and it's like that's like 5 years of the relationship, and then like another like 2 years of like her sending me like the most venomous shit, and then like putting money in my bank account, and like trying to get me to contact her, and and like going back and forth, like sending me pictures of like the kid,
right.
Yeah, trying to provoke anything out of me. Sometimes it would work, but I mean, now my life's become a lot more stable, and I've learned that it's just I can't engage it at all.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't even be like, don't contact me, because that will get me another 10 emails.
Of course. Well, and which is it may be a good thing in the end, because it'll make you look at people in a different way, and I'm sure you judge people like differently, when you have something like this happen, man. Like, people don't understand. People can be very manipulative, and if you're and I remember I moved to Orlando right after I graduated high school. I lived in Orlando for a couple of years, and Adam and I grew up in the part of the country that is very conservative, very rural, and I wind up in Orlando, and these kids that are my age are living a life of a fucking 30-year-old. Like, they've done all the drugs already. They've done all the partying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're so much further along in the game of life than I was at that time. And there's a lot of people around that area that are looking to get into trouble. And if you don't know how to manipulate yourself and sort of make it through the minefield of people that are trying, because I come from an area of the world where you live your heart on your sleeve, man. I mean, there's no questions about the way I feel about that shit, but some people just take advantage of that. And if you don't know that, then and the links that somebody will go to for something to craft a scenario that sucks you in is it's just beyond my comprehension. And people like us that are normal, rational thinking people, we don't think in those terms. Like, that's never an option. It's never an option to take advantage of somebody like that.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. And I'll tell you what, like, when every once in a while, because she knows I live in LA. She doesn't know where I live in LA. But I'm sure she could, if she wanted to do some digging, she checked out my Instagram and stuff. She made a new fake account to go look at my public stuff on Facebook and all that. She would probably figure out a general area of where I'm going to live, or where I'll be,
Right.
And a lot of times I'll see someone from behind, or like even in the front, where they look like her, and my blood runs cold for a second, because I'm like, oh my fucking God, is she back in my life now, because if she wants to be, she will be, Right. It's like I don't underestimate the lengths she'll go to now, I mean, I think I'm safe. I haven't heard from her in over a year.
I'm knocking on wood for you.
Knock on wood for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. But yeah, I haven't heard from her in a decent amount of time for how much I used to. Right. And God, hopefully she never hears this.
Yeah, no shit. But thank God, dude.
That would probably make her pretty angry.
Right.
But
yeah.
oh yeah, because I didn't even tell this part of the story. Like I remember, like through part of our one of our breakups, she tried to get me to sign an NDA about our relationship. I think because of the divorce.
Mm.
And I was like, fuck you, man. It's like I'm not signing shit for you, you know?
Yeah.
And there was another time that she threatened to have me killed because I wouldn't sign this NDA about our relationship or whatever. She didn't want me like telling any of these stories.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, fuck you, I'm gonna write a fucking memoir someday. I'm gonna write a fucking autobiography. Because I got some more crazy stories. If y'all have me, I'll come on and tell some more of them sometime too.
Of course, man.
Because a lot of them are long like this one, where they've got a very long arc throughout years of my life. You know,
that's great, man. We love that shit.
Yeah,
that's
for real.
Excellent.
Barry, what do you think that people find the most far-fetched? Ghost stories or aliens as being the more unbelievable?
I would say aliens.
You know, I would agree with that probably too, because I think with ghosts, there's a part of the belief system that is abound throughout the world, and we want to have some kind of assurance of some form of life after death.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with aliens, it's unknown for sure. It's completely unknown. We have only our imagination. We don't have a lot of universal stories that we agree upon that these things exist, maybe.
To believe in aliens is to believe that we are not the sole existence of this world, which goes against a lot of belief systems.
It definitely does. But you know, the great thing about what we're doing here is we are open to all your stories about ghosts or aliens or anything in between or anything outside of. We're not here to judge. We're here to just talk and to share. And we don't want you to think you're crazy because you're not.
Yeah. Wow, man. I think I don't know anybody that's got that kind of story, you know? I mean, that is a very fucked up story.
Yeah, man. I'm glad I'm on the outside of it now.
I'm sorry it happened to you, but at the same time, I'm glad you came on here to tell that story, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an exclusive. You're the first people I've like gone on record. I mean, I tell this story all the time to people I meet, but I've never actually said it on the record. That's why I told you at the beginning that I was nervous because, yeah.
Well, I can understand why.
Yeah. It's equal parts worrying that she might someday hear it and go fucking ballistic.
Yes.
And also just getting it out. Because, like, I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but I was kind of shaking a little bit through, like, some parts of it. Because, I mean, it's an intense story to have to relive.
Yeah, and I don't think people understand that, like, guys can get scared with chicks, dude. Like, when that kind of shit happens, you know, you always hear about men, you know, of course, being assholes and doing stupid shit. But, like, dude, I've seen some chicks do some pretty fucked up shit, you know, and that kind of situation where, like, she knows she's got something over on you and she can fucking use it to her advantage, man. It's just like, you know, the worst of the worst, man. So wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
So that's my weird story for y'all.
Dude, that was awesome. Wow.
Yeah. That was intense, man.
Thank you. I've got a lot of intense stories.
Well, hey, man. I mean, you know, I'm still good to hear some more. If you're up for it, or if you got to run, we can have you back on. Just let us know when you want to come back on, dude.
I actually do got to run.
Okay.
But yeah, I can send you over.
Come back, dude.
I absolutely will. I've got as crazy as that story was, I got an even crazier one for you that I'd love to tell. So
awesome, man. Awesome. Well, we'd love to have you, man. We appreciate you taking the time to sit with us and talk, man. And you know, the fact that you got in touch with us and came on and were, you know, willing to share a crazy ass story like that. we have a new term. It's normal, crazy ass, weird stories. Because sometimes people have some weird fucking stories that they think are normal. Of course, this one isn't normal, but but no, we appreciate you coming on, man. It was a real pleasure to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Before you go, we want you to tell all our listeners about your podcast and what you're doing, and it's because it's awesome and it's good, and we want to share that with our people. So, tell us about that.
All right, yeah. I do a podcast. I wrote with my best friend from back in Florida. We both moved out here, and we came up with a concept in like high school. And it had been kind of sitting in our brains forever. I wrote a podcast, audio drama called Crypta. It's about cryptids, and it's about a doctor that's like picked up by the U.S. government to go collect cryptids and bring them to Area 51 and kind of study and socialize them. And our first season is set in the 1950s, and it's a lot of fun. We definitely got some great voice talent on the show.
Yeah.
Henry Zabrowski from Last Podcast.
Yeah.
Last Podcast on the Left.
Yes. If people haven't listened to Last Podcast on the Left, go out and listen. It's one of the most entertaining, fun group of guys. They tell all kinds of they cover true crime, and they do weird UFO shit and just kind of whatever that they want to talk about, and it's so entertaining, and we're all huge fans. So
for sure, definitely. Yeah, we got Henry, we got Ed Larson from also Last Podcast Network. He's got his show, The Brighter Side. Yeah. And Roundtable of Gentlemen, of course. I don't know if y'all have ever listened to them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, yeah. I love that show.
All great stuff.
Yeah. Holden McNeely from Roundtable, and his show was in the Bruiser.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got our friend Shelby Scott from the Scary to Sleep podcast.
That's another good one. Yeah,
that's a good one. She does like creepypasta readings that are in kind of an ASMR type format, which apparently a lot of people are enjoying because she's doing really well for herself there.
Awesome.
Yeah, and obviously myself, my best friend, and some other voice actors. We're going to have even more people coming on for season 2, which we're currently working on.
Excellent. Glad to hear that.
Yeah, I make no promises when it's going to come out because you can't rush genius.
Right. Yeah. I was gonna.
We don't know what the fuck we're doing. I'm shocked that the first season came out as well as it did.
Yeah. Well, that's why like shit's good, because sometimes when you're shooting from the hip, it all comes together. I was gonna ask you, like, are you how many episodes are you pre-writing before you start like doing it? I mean, are you just kind of shooting from the hip the whole time, or do you kind of have an idea of where the season's going to go?
We do the whole season at once, which is why we haven't started season 2 yet, but we'll have the same kind of rollout the first season did, where we'll record everything, have everything ready, and then it'll be probably a week at a time. Okay. And I'd love to put out super regular content, but that's hard to produce. It's a lot of fucking work. Oh god, the dogs are going crazy back here. I'm house sitting and dog sitting right now, but it's a lot of work to do all the sound effects and all that shit, but and you also it's definitely very rewarding. But hopefully we'll have season 2 out before the end of the year.
Cool. Yeah, because you got to cast and getting everybody all on the same page and doing all that. Adds to it, I'm sure. So.
Oh, it absolutely does. Because when you're working with people who are actually good actors, they're usually kind of hard to wrangle. Yeah. A lot of times the actors, it's definitely been the most difficult part of doing it. I don't know if y'all have had any experience. You probably had some experience with scheduling people to come on your show.
Yes, yes, it gets difficult.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Imagine doing that, but for like 7 or 8 people.
Exactly. Yeah,
for sure. Well, hey, man, it's we we look forward to listening, and we're just so excited that we got you on. I mean, we really are, man. We are.
Dude.
We are truly honored to have you on, and thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, it was great.
It's a pleasure.
And yeah, I definitely, everybody out there listening here, go and check out Crypta series. You can Google Crypta series, and
just Crypta is the name.
Just
Crypta series is what we had to use for our branding, because
right.
Crypta's been taken on a few platforms. Unfortunately, we weren't too quick on that one. So
yeah.
But go out there, check it out, listen to it. It's very bingeable. You can get through it really quickly, and you'll really enjoy it, because that's what I did today in preparation. And man, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. So,
thank you. And here's a clip. Insert clip here.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah,
we'll do that. We'll do that.
Yeah, if we get your permission to do that, we'd love to do that, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll shoot you one of our promo things.
Cool.
Okay, great.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah. So, thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure. I'll be back with you guys soon.
Cool, brother. Yeah,
awesome.
Let's do it.
That sounds great.
We
definitely want to talk to you again.
Excellent.
Okay, man. We'll see you.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Doctor, I couldn't help but notice it seems a bit dark. I brought my flashlight.
Good. It's the only light source we have. Just stay calm, boys. I'm sure the power will be back on shortly. There is no reason to worry.
That sounds bad. Doc, what exactly was that?
No reason to worry. We are going to need to arm ourselves.
Arm yourselves? I don't have hands. God damn it, this sucks.
You think that you're the only creatures down here? This is the Area 51. Get with the program.
What do you mean, Doc?
Well, I'm not going to say, out loud, that I've been creating genetically mutated alien-human hybrids, but I'm not going to say I haven't either.
Wait, you've been splitting DNA?
That is classified. But yes, I have.
Well, what do we do?
Just stay still. Just stay still. Just stay still. Oof, God, this is like that ride at Magic Kingdom. That super scary one when the lights go out. You don't know where the alien's gonna be and they drip theme park water on you. That comes from the toilet systems.
Well, Andrew, wow.
Yeah.
I've known some crazy chicks before, dude, but I think that takes the cake for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's not just, she's a crazy chick. She's just a crazy human being. That's all. She's just completely off balance, and he's probably very right about his, diagnosis of her being bipolar. But of course, Andrew's not a mental health technician or in that field. Neither are we, but still, you can see it when you can see it, and you're aware. When somebody who's not, when somebody's acting like that, when somebody asks you or suggests, when here's this present I give you, a gun, and maybe if something happened to my husband, maybe I would come into a lot of money. Well, maybe that would be good for everybody. And I mean, that's
so crazy. That's so crazy to think about. I've never, luckily, ever been in that situation before. But I read this shit and I watch the fucking shows with the the spouse that either wants the other one killed or and it's like, to go to that extreme where like you have a life with that person and you want them quote unquote rubbed out. That you're dealing with an insane person at that point. An insane person that is, there's no telling what else is going on in their life. You're wrapped up in it. You're, you got your own little piece of crazy heaven pie, whatever that is. And you don't realize that there are other people involved in it. And I've, never been down that road, but I have certainly come close and was lucky enough to see, some of the stumbling blocks ahead before it actually happened. But golly, dude, my hat goes off to him for keeping his cool, man. That's all I can say, dude. Because I would have been I would have been, pounding the door down and like freaking making a scene and, doing some crazy shit.
Yeah, man. It's I totally respect Andrew for owning up to his the errors that in judgment that he made.
Right, he was involved.
Looking very, very tactful way to say that.
Yeah. No, he was. He owns up to the mistakes, and he was involved in it, and he understands his position in the whole story. Yeah.
But at the same time, man, so many times that he himself could have been. That she could have killed him. Yeah, if she was that.
Oh, yeah.
There so many times.
Oh, yeah.
Like going out in the desert.
Right.
With somebody who is already mentally off, and that's just
And not only that, but like the manipulation of using someone else's child.
Yeah.
It's like it's one thing when you're messing around with adults, but when you start playing in that realm, dude, that's another level, right? I mean, that's a whole other level of crazy train,
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So Andrew, thank you for sharing that story. I know I got wrapped up in it.
Great. It was so good, man. It was awesome. I was really glued to my seat, just glued to my seat, and he's a great storyteller.
Yeah. And he's a really cool dude as well. When we've talked to him before and after the interview, super cool, super chill dude. And we'll be a good thing is we're going to be hearing back. He's going to be coming back on in the future because he does have some of the other kind of weird stories to share.
Yep.
So, Andrew, thank you again for coming on, and everybody, we encourage you to go and check out Crypta and enjoy it. It's a short comedy podcast about cryptids and evil scientists and stuff like that. It's fun. You'll really enjoy it. We think you will. So go check that out and support our new friend Andrew in all of his works. So
absolutely, couldn't agree more.
Cool. Well, I reckon, Bear, that takes us to the end of this episode, and we can let all of our friends go for the week and catch them back next time.
Yes, we will miss you. We will miss you.
Yes, friends. But in the meantime, everybody, do go and, if you could please give us some ratings and give us some testimonials on your wherever you listen to your podcast. Give us some good reviews and tell your friends. And we want to hear your stories, so get a hold of us.
Don't be shy.
Yeah, don't be shy out. We're cool. We're friends. Everybody we talk to, we become friends with.
Yeah, I mean, and Andrew's a perfect case of that. We didn't know Andrew at all, but. Yeah. Boom, we pick it up and we just have a natural conversation, man.
It's great. It's great. It's what the best thing out of doing this is talking to people that we're friends with, who we knew before and hadn't talked to them for years at times, and then also meeting new people and talking to them, hearing their great stories and becoming friends with them as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, all of our friends out there in Weirdsville, you guys take care of yourselves. Be safe.
Be weird.
As always, if you have a weird story, we want to hear it.
If you have a lot of them, we want to hear them all.
We can't do this podcast without your invaluable contributions.
Whether it's sharing your stories,
listening,
rating,
and spreading the word about the podcast. Thanks for listening. Till next time, be safe.
Be weird.
The stories presented on the What's Your Weird Story podcast are, to our knowledge, true experiences that our guests have had. We can't take the time to